SoulSight. Where is God? Who is God? What is God? Why is God? Welcome to the SoulSight YouTube channel. Today's video is not about proving God. It is not about defending belief. And it is not about winning an argument. Today, we sit with the questions that arise when silence feels louder than faith. Where is God? Who is God? Since when does God exist? Until when will God exist? What is God, really? And the hardest question of all, why is God? If these questions have ever appeared in your thoughts, this journey is for you. Let us begin. Where is God? People ask this quietly, sometimes in anger, sometimes in grief, sometimes in exhaustion. Where is God when suffering happens? Where is God when prayers feel unanswered? Where is God when life feels unfair? But perhaps the question itself hides an assumption that God must exist in a place. We search for God the way we search for objects, in temples, in mosques, in churches, in scriptures, in the sky. But gravity has no location, yet it shapes everything. Time has no form, yet it governs every life. Love has no address, yet it changes people forever. Maybe God is not somewhere else. Maybe God is present as awareness itself, in conscience, in silence, in compassion, in truth. Not hidden, not absent, but unnoticed. Until when is God? Everything we know begins and ends. Stars are born and die. Civilizations rise and fall. Even time itself had a beginning. So people ask, will God also end? But time is part of creation. It is not the source. A river flows from past to future, but the source of the river is not inside the flow. If God exists beyond time, then until when no longer applies. God would not be something that appears and disappears. God would be the ground beneath existence itself. Who is God? This question has divided humanity more than any other. Some say God is a ruler. Some say God is a judge. Some say God is a father. Some say God is love. Some say God is energy. Some say God is silence. Every culture describes God differently. But maybe all descriptions are symbols, not definitions. The mind cannot hold infinity, so it turns infinity into images. When we speak about God, we are not describing God. We are describing our relationship with mystery. God may not be a someone you can point to. God may be a presence you can sense. Since when is God? This question assumes that God began the way humans begin. Beginnings belong to things within time. If God exists, God would not have a starting point, because God would be the reason time exists at all. Asking when God began is like asking when mathematics began. Numbers were not invented by the universe. They describe it. God may not be something that started. God may be something that simply is. What is God? Is God a being, a force, a law, a consciousness? You cannot understand music by studying sound waves alone. You must listen. In the same way, God may not be understood through logic alone. God may be encountered, not as an object, but as meaning itself. The intelligence behind existence, the order behind chaos, the awareness behind awareness. Not a thing among things, but the reason anything exists at all. Why is God? This may be the deepest question of all. Why does existence exist? Why is there something instead of nothing? Science explains how things happen. It does not explain why existence exists in the first place. Why is there consciousness? Why is there meaning? Why do humans ask these questions at all? Maybe the question, "Why is God?" is another way of asking, "Why does meaning exist?" Maybe God exists not to control humanity, but to give existence depth. Not to remove questions, but to inspire them. Not to force belief, but to allow freedom. Perhaps God is not offended by questions. Perhaps God exists because questions exist. If humans were meant to obey blindly, they would not have been given reason. If faith were meant to be forced, doubt would not exist. Questioning is not the enemy of faith. It is often the doorway to deeper understanding. God does not disappear when you question. Only false certainty does. If today's reflection stirred something within you, clarity, discomfort, peace, or curiosity, then it has served its purpose. If you value calm, meaningful explorations that speak to the soul, consider subscribing to the SoulSight YouTube channel. Like this video if it resonated with you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your question might help someone else feel less alone. This is not a channel for answers that end thinking. This is a space for questions that deepen awareness. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and keep listening to your soul. Until next time, this is SoulSight, signing off.